Hello, my angels. How are you today? I hope you're doing well. I decided to do just a quick, soft-spoken video that people can listen to and just go to sleep or study or relax, whatever. And then tonight I'll do a guided meditation. Also, I have 2 role plays coming up this week I'm excited about. I know I said I wasn't going to, but people seem to like them, so I'm going to try to maybe do one a month. But I have 2 great ideas, so I wanted to do them. So if you're new here, thank you so much. I appreciate you giving me a chance. Please feel free, hit that subscribe button and become part of the fam. And those that are returning, thank you so much. You guys know how much you mean to me. I appreciate it so much. I wanted to give you guys an update too on my eyebrows and my eyelashes. Now the eyelash lift lasted. It's still there. My lamination is still there and the color is still there. The color on the eyelashes, not so much. But it has been 3 weeks and I was in the water and the sun. So, you know, I still highly recommend doing it, especially if you want to go away and not have to worry about mascara or anything like that. So tonight's video is just a simple one. The last time I talked about recipes and making food, people really seem to like it. So tonight's is what's for dinner. So I'm going to tell you what and how I made for dinner tonight. And tonight I made a special, we call it tiny meatball lasagna. I don't make it too often because it's a pain to make the meatballs. And what I do is I make 2 at the same time. And that way, for this, what I'm doing this week is I just made 2 squares rather than a big long. And one I will cut up into individual pieces, put them in Tupperware and stick them in the freezer. And that way, when they're getting ready for lunch, like for work and, no, they're both going to work this summer, they can just grab it. By the time it's lunchtime, it'll be thawed and they can just pop it in the microwave and they don't have to think about their lunches. And they can do the same thing the night before if they want to have one for breakfast, because I believe in high protein breakfasts. So I'm going to give you the secret to my tiny meatball lasagna. Okay. And do remember, I use ready-made lasagna noodles because they're gluten-free. So they're no cook, like you don't have to boil them ahead of time. If I was making a lasagna for people who aren't gluten-free, I buy the fresh sheets of pasta. I never boil noodles. I just find this so much easier. So this is the gluten-free version. So the first thing I did was make the meatballs. So what I do is in a bowl, I put breadcrumbs. I have gluten-free ones. And some milk. I happen to have some half and half because I kept it in the fridge for my brother this week. So I used just a splash of that, enough to let it soak into those breadcrumbs. And this is pretty much all by eye, okay? I don't measure. I have small hands and I usually use palmfuls. When I do this, it means I used a palmful. When I do this, it means a pinch. So into the breadcrumbs and milk, I would add dried parsley, dried oregano, dried basil, and that's pinches, and salt and pepper. I use Parmesan, a good palmful of grated Parmesan, and also I like pecorino too, so you could use either one, whichever you prefer. In my food chopper, I have one of those mini ones. I chop up an onion and garlic, and I threw that in. Now, and an egg, and you mix all that together. My friend's mom taught me that trick. You always put your mix first, and then you add your meat to it, and it helps keep your meatballs tender. It's less gushing of the meatballs. That's a technical term. So the meat I used 2 packages of ground beef, and we had a half, about that big, piece of chorizo sausage. So I threw that into the cutter up thing, the blender, and then added that to the meat as well, just for added flavor. And then I made over 150 little tiny meatballs. I literally just took a thing and went like this. Now, I was also going to make, well, I did actually make bacon cheddar cornbread muffins for their breakfasts. I'm trying meal planning, trying to do as much in the weekends when I have help with to do it all. So I had done the bacon on a baking sheet lined with tin foil in the oven. I just find it so much easier to do it that way. So I used the oil when I made the muffins, like the bacon drippings, but there's still a nice little sheen of it on the tin foil. So that's what I put the meatballs on, so they would get even more flavor by absorbing that. And then once you have them made, they just went in a 375 oven for 15 to 20 minutes. You keep checking on them. I don't want them too brown because they're still gonna cook inside the lasagna. But this way people can walk by and sneak them like I don't know. So then I make the sauce. And because I'm doing a lasagna, I make this super easy sauce. I take some of the onions and garlic that I had zhuzhed up, throw them in with some olive oil and some chili flakes, just a little pinch to taste, right? And then I just use a can of diced tomatoes with that's in juice and a bottle of passata, and I rinse out the passata either with wine, milk, in a pinch water, broth, whatever you want, just to get all the leftover stuff, because they're not cheap. And then I just simmer it on the stove for about 15-20 minutes just to get that metallic taste out of the tomatoes. And that's done. Well, and the spices. And again, parsley, oregano, basil, salt, pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, because I like that flavor in them, and a bay leaf. And that's it. And then we buy, because I have discovered I'm lactose free now, I buy the lactose free shredded cheeses. So there's nacho, double cheddar, and mozzarella. For this one, I just put the nacho away and I use the double cheddar and the mozzarella. So in your pan, I'll just tell you how I did one, and then you just put a spoonful and a half of sauce. And then I ended up using 3 noodles for each layer, and one I broke because I had 2 fit perfectly like this, and this would have been too big, and then there was a little bit, so I just cracked it in half and layered it like a puzzle or Tetris. And then on top of that, I put another layer of sauce. I take a handful of the meatballs and sprinkle them around, and if I really had to count, probably 20 meatballs per layer. Yeah, probably. And another layer of sauce, and then as much cheese as you like. And then you just keep alternating that. I ended up with 3 layers. Your last layer will just be noodle, meatballs, sauce, and cheese. That's it. And on that last layer, I sprinkle Parmesan. That's it. I make it in the mornings, leave it in the fridge for when I'm ready to cook, because I want all those flavors to meld together. And then I just stick it in a 375 oven covered with tin foil, loosely covered, so that you don't want your cheese coming off with that first layer. For about 45 minutes, take the lid off so that you can brown up everything for about 10-15, and then take them out and let them sit for 5 to 10 minutes. 10 if you can do it. It just will make it so much easier to cut. If you cut into them right away, it just glops onto the plate. If you'd like a better, cleaner slice, let it sit 5 to 10 minutes, okay? That's all you have to do, and that's it. I had a few meatballs left over and a little bit of sauce, so I just put them together, stuck them in a Tupperware, and stuck them in the fridge. My daughter loves gluten-free gnocchi, so I said we can make the gnocchi one night and put the sauce and the meatballs on it, and that's 2 to 3 lunches. Bob's your uncle. Well, that would have worked if they hadn't got into the sauce and the meatballs earlier. Anyways, that's fine. And then, yeah, that's it. We'll just serve that. It'll be a nice dinner. Lots of protein between the cheese and the meatballs. I don't have to worry about them, you know, and the carb is good. My daughter's starting her summer job. Baby Angel is working with kids all summer, so she's gonna need her energy. So I said, make sure you have a carb dinner the first night, like the night before. And yeah, that's it. And if anybody wants to know about the bacon cheddar cornbread muffins, that was just flour and cornbread and baking powder, salt, and they said to use melted butter, but like I said, I had all that bacon dripping, so I used bacon dripping and oil instead. Milk and eggs. Is there something else? I put a little hot sauce in there too. And you just mix them together. Then I added the crumbled up bacon and some of the nacho shredded cheese, and I baked them in the oven. I cooked them in little loaves. It's a muffin tin, but it has the little loaves. I got it at Michael's, and I think they cooked for 25 minutes at 350. That was it. You know, they both loved them. I find corn muffins very, very dry no matter what I do. Oh, my southern friends, don't disown me. Don't hit unsubscribe. It's not my fault. The recipe called for sugar and honey. I added sugar and maple syrup because I'm Canadian, so you know. But I know it's hugely controversial about sugar and cornbread. So my apologies, mea culpa. If you have a better recipe, feel free to send it to me. And if anybody wants that recipe, let me know and I'll post it, okay? And yeah, and when we were away, I told you they went on the taco tour. So I went on YouTube today and I found 3 different sites that made pork a la pastora. I think that's how you pronounce it. Please help me if I mispronounce it. And I have most of the ingredients. I don't have the paste, the chili paste, but I do have the actual ground chili. So I thought, okay, I can use some oil and make a paste myself. And so basically, now they used a great big pork roast and then they cut it into slices and they put it on a skewer on top of half a pineapple with some pineapple on top and baked it in the oven, 350 for an hour and a half. What I'm going to do is marinate it with all those spices and deliciousness that it comes with. And I'm gonna put half a potato on the bottom. I'll put a metal skewer in with all the, now I'm using boneless pork chops and they're already cut evenly, so I don't have to worry about that. So I'll put those on, and after they've been marinated in that beautiful sauce and everything, and then I'll put another potato on the top. But I will, at the last half hour, I will throw pineapple rings at the bottom so it gets some of that juice and deliciousness, and there's pineapple juice in the sauce, so I think it's going to be delicious. And then I watched another lady make homemade tortillas, and I'm like, could I really? I have made flatbreads before, but these looked way better than anything I see in the store. And it's somebody I follow, and I can't remember her name, but I'll let you know how they turn out, and I will. But they look so easy. So I thought, okay, I can do this. And she gave lots of tips, you know, about letting it rest, the dough, about how long to knead it, about how to pinch it off and turn it into a ball. And because I just don't have the strength or the energy anymore to roll out the doughs, I splurged and I ordered a tortilla press, just a $20 tortilla press on Amazon. So that'll be here tomorrow. And yeah, I'm gonna make my own tortillas, and they cook in a hot dry pan, just 40 seconds on each side until they bubble and get a little brown, and then you put them inside a kitchen towel. And she said not to worry about putting the hot ones on top of each other and then putting the kitchen towel down, because it will actually help make them soft and pliable. And she said they last for a few days. So if this turns out, I may never have to buy wraps again. We'll see, and I'll let you know. But yeah, guys, that's what's for dinner. We indulged while on vacation, so no dessert tonight. But that's one thing, I don't eat a lot of sweets when we're away. I find, especially at resorts, it's always tastes the same. I do like, I found out I like coconut ice cream, which was hugely surprising because I didn't think I liked coconut. Turns out I don't like the texture of shredded coconut. I love the flavor of coconut. I ended up talking to one of the servers and we were talking about that. And I said, I didn't even know I liked coconut. But if I think about it, I like pina colada. So, you know. So, yes, so no dessert. However, I did see a really good recipe today. I follow, if you're Canadian, you probably know who she is. And if you're not, look her up. Rose Reisman, Reisman. I have been following her for decades. She is an amazing cook. She has so much knowledge about nutrition. I've seen her speak in person, and she taught us all how to make turkey napkin folds, which was fun. So yeah, I followed her, and she did a brookie recipe, which is a brownie cookie. But her recipe just makes about 8 to 12, depending how big you make them, which is perfect. If I make a big 2 dozen batch, then we eat them. So this way, we just make a small batch and we'll eat those. But so I'll probably make those this week. And it looked so easy that I gotta tell you, I think I might even record that one and let you guys see how I did it, especially now that I know how to stop and add to a video. So yeah, this was just a blah, blah, blah. Listen to me gab on and zone out, fall asleep, study, work, whatever you want, or just eat with, If you want some company and you're by yourself having dinner, put on one of my videos and let me know in the comments. I have no problems doing an eat with me video. We can decide together what to make in advance and maybe make it a weekly or monthly thing where, we'll all have mac and cheese one day and, we can just talk while you eat and you won't feel alone, okay? Because I never want any of you to feel alone. Because as long as you have Auntie Angel, you're not alone, I promise, okay? I see you and I hear you and I understand. Okay, so tonight there'll be a guided meditation video. Always remember, I love you, I value you, I honor you, and I'm so very, very glad that you were born.